of these kids that are born with supernatural powers. And they don't make these beings out to be evil folks. They make them out to be very nice beings. And so that's going to be a huge problem on this earth when Satan arrives, because people are going to have a hard time believing he's evil. Because he's not going to show you his real side. He's going to show you his charming side. And so it's going to be a hard time telling people he's the devil. They're going to look at you like you're the devil. And so these things are coming, folks, and so we need to prepare for these. So many people ask me, how can I wake up other people to what's going on? And you know what? You just plant seeds, folks. That's all you can do. You can't change anybody's mind about it, you know. They have to be willing to accept the truth, first of all. You know, when you start telling them about the New World Order and about the apostasies in the churches today and stuff, don't expect an instant acceptance of what you're saying. Just plant seeds and walk away. You know, that's all I've done for years. I don't sit and argue and debate with somebody. And the Lord never did either. You know, he said what he had to say and then he walked away. Or he let them come to him. You know, he never sat and debated and argued with people. You know, and we don't have to waste our time doing that either, because, you know, these people have to want the truth, accept the truth, and we just leave it in his hands to open up their eyes and their hearts to want to hear the truth. You know, so just plant seeds and walk away. And it's very effective as well. I know so years ago the people that would have laughed at the things I'm saying now, basically putting up their own websites now. You know, and they're teaching the same things I've taught for years, and you know, and I never pushed anybody. I've never pushed my beliefs on anybody. And so, you know, the Lord just will take time with that person to reveal and open their eyes. So don't expect overnight miracles, folks. I mean, it's rare. Even with my own people that are close to me, it took them several years just to start seeing some of the things I was talking about. I certainly don't have a grasp on everything I'm talking about, but when you start to accept one thing and your illusions start to shatter, because you've been raised in this box all your life that you were put in by your parents or the media and the government, and you start to break out of that box and realize things aren't all as they seem, then more and more truths aren't so hard to accept. You become more and more willing to listen, because it's just people put walls around them of what they think life on earth is, what they think society is, and once those illusions are shattered, then they're more open to the truth. But there's nothing that we can do except plant seeds and then just count on the Lord, ask the Lord to water those seeds, send other people to pound more seeds at them, and you know, don't get too frustrated. I know it's frustrating, but that's just part of the war, folks. Waking people up, and don't put it all on your shoulders, because it's not about us. It's about the Lord working through us. You know, I didn't wake that person up. I just spoke, and the Lord opened that person up. You know, it's the Lord Himself who works through us. It's not about us. And that's one of the things I get these personal attacks on the internet about me, and it's like, it's not about me. There's nothing special about me. I'm just a servant. I'm just a mouthpiece for the Lord. And so I don't want to hear, you know, this and that, and I don't put my own name out there for people to follow. I don't want people following me. I want them following the Lord. I don't have a following. The Lord has a following. You know, I don't have a church. The Lord will build a congregation. I mean, you know, it's just not about me. It's about Him. And it's just about waking up people, His people, in these last days, so that we're not all caught unaware and off guard at the things that are coming, you know. I just teach what He tells me. I teach what I know. And that's all I've ever done. That's all I've ever done. And I don't shove it down people's throats. I don't do anything. I try to do the mandate He gave me years ago, and that was to lead His people back to Him. Back to Him. You know, that's all I try to do. And so we can tell how effective His people are because we're really, really getting under Satan's skin. We're just making him crawl, and it makes me laugh. It really does. I'm really proud of all the work being accomplished in the last couple of years by his people, because I can tell how much work is being done by just how angry Satan and his kingdom is. You know, they're sending people against people and things, you know. Attack my computer, attack my credibility, attack my integrity, attack anything I've got, you know. And it just makes me laugh. It gets aggravating, but it confirms for me how effective we're being as a people for the Lord, as his last days warriors, because they really, really want to stop this orgone. They can see how much it's damaging Satan's kingdom. And so we're being effective, and we need to keep it up. We need to keep fighting. We need to keep putting it out there. And the directions are on my website, OregonBlasters.com. And so we don't have much time, folks. We don't have much time. You know, I was watching television earlier today, and something hit my spirit as I was watching this news segment on, I don't know if some of you saw it, this famous chess player in Russia was thrown in prison. Putin had him thrown in prison. And it's because this man was using his notoriety as a famous chess player to try to influence the people politically with his political views, not so favorable about Putin. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, this is coming to America. This is because anything that you see happening in any country around the world is going to happen, is a blueprint for all of the countries to follow. Because we're no longer separate nations. You know, on paper, on maps, we're separate nations. But as far as getting this whole one world government thing rolling, technically we're not. Technically we're all just one nation now. And so anything you see happening in Russia, anything you see happening in Europe, is going to be happening in America. And anything happening in America is going to be happening to all these other countries. We're all watching each other's destruction as a particular nation, as a entity separate from everybody else. There's no more patriotism of Americans or the Russians or the Europeans or whatever. All that is being stripped away from every country. You know, we've been yelling and harping about the police state here in America. And it's coming. What I saw today in Russia about political dissidents being thrown in jail for just being in disagreement with Putin and the Russian government, that's coming here in America, and everybody knows it's coming. And that's the sad part. Everybody knows it's coming. It's just, you know, what are we going to do to stop it? You know, the Russians have been going through it for so long, they become shell-shocked by it. They just don't do anything. The people don't rise up against it. And so I hope to never see that in America, to where we just become acceptant of it. We're already become tolerable of these tasers being used to kill people. Is, you know, and the guy who invented this, I don't remember his name, I was reading it earlier, talking about how it doesn't administer real pain. And I'm thinking, man, I wish some reporters had a taser and just started tasering that fool. So then talk about that these tasers don't administer real pain. When you see these people writhing on the floor in pain and agony, and they're using these things in every country in the world. And another thing that they're rising up and using a lot more is these spy drones. We just have these spy drones everywhere spying on people. And so I know, I'm trying to think, the reason for that Roswell crash in back in I think it was 48 or whenever that was, the Roswell UFO crash in New Mexico, was because the UFO had traveled directly over the Air Force Base, and the communication systems had jammed the UFO systems, and that's why it crashed. And so I was trying to think of what that was, because you know, I'm wondering if those some kind of these weapons, these frequency jammers or whatever, could be used in private homes to jam the frequency systems on these spy drones. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm just thinking, if you could crash a UFO by jamming its systems, communication systems, its whole navigation systems,